Good morning, YouTube. It's Veterans Day, and what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little bit of a Veterans Day project. So for all the vets out there, if you've spent any time in the military, regardless of branch of service, you have probably eaten one of these bad boys. MREs, meals ready to eat. They come in a bag, and your experience may vary depending on the entree that you have. But if you've spent any time in the military, you know if you get a little thing of Tabasco in your MRE, it adds a little bit of kick and flavor to it that's going to make that disgusting entree taste slightly better. So apparently at one point they took these Tabascos out of the MREs, and I guess they came back. I know they've been in MREs for probably over 40 years. Like, my dad was in the military, and I remember him when he was in Desert Storm sending us sand home in those little Tabasco bottles. So I know that they've been around for a long time. So I did some training a couple of months back and actually got one of these Tabasco bottles in one of my MREs and decided, you know what, this would make a cool Veterans Day project to commemorate Tabasco sauce and how it adds a little bit of flavor to your meal. So what are we doing? Putting it in resin, and then we're going to shave it down and make a little desk paperweight out of it. So East Coast resin, that's what we're using right now. Obviously saw us put the little cube on there, took some 15-minute epoxy, and now attached that to it. Poured that into a resin cup, and then we basically put that in the pressure pot for 4.5 hours, and this is the result after 4.5 hours. Looks pretty cool, looks pretty clear. You can tell a little bit of yellowing. This is like the bottom portion of my batch of resin, so it's probably had a little bit to do with it. So you can see also that the top of the actual Tabasco bottle is a little close to the top, which is a little bit concerning, because what I'm afraid of is I'm going to start getting this work down on the lathe, and then that bottle is going to pop open. But luckily, I've been doing this for a little bit and not a lot of issues. Only big issue that I had on this project was mostly getting the actual cup off. So I don't know what it is. I see a lot of other woodworkers, pop these projects out of the cups. For some reason, it adheses to the plastic, and I'm never able to do that. So once you first put that chisel on, and I'm sure you saw that in the beginning, you could see where the whole cup kind of splayed open. So you had little pieces flying everywhere. But once you get that work down, now you're just basically taking off material so that you can go ahead, getting it into that nice, dome shape that we're going to do here in a little bit. So at this point, I got to be really, really careful what I'm doing here. Using the round carbide tool, now we're just making that cool, nice top dome shape, trying to take off material and form it into the shape that you actually want it to do, or want it to be in at the end. And we always do dome shapes on this channel. That usually has a better aesthetic to it. So here we are, just taking materials off, being really careful, using our round carbide tool, just taking small gentle strokes, not trying to take off too much material, but at the same time trying to form it into like a shape that we want it to. And now, I haven't done this technique before, but I'm going to start doing this in the future, taking the small square carbide tool and just using that to kind of round things off, take off more material. The round carbide tool is effective, but sometimes you get a little bit better aesthetic depending on which tool that you're using. So pretty much got it into the shape that we want. We just keep starting and stopping the lathe, trying to get just a nice feel of where we're at, and just continuing to take off material. And then we'll get to my favorite part, which is obviously sanding, because sanding is so important. But with these desk toys or these desk paperweights, it's always important to do a lot of good sanding, because that's what makes the resin a little bit more clear. Well, actually, that's what makes the resin clear. If you don't sand it, it's going to look like shit anyway. But now what we're doing is we're setting up to where we're going to take off the bottom piece from the actual main piece itself. So here we are, just setting it up. That's where we're going to end up taking everything off. And I don't have like a really good parting tool. You could see there, well, you couldn't see because it was in fast motion, but a little bit of wiggle on that square carbide tool. So now I'm just having to go back, tighten that down, and now we're just parting the actual piece from the headstock here, where we're going to actually detach it before we actually start the sanding. Getting a little bit of wobble on this. This one was like a butt pucker factor definitely having some concerns because I actually thought it was going to fly off the lathe at one time. So we saved just enough of it so where we can sand it. We obviously take the speed of the lathe, crank it all the way down, and then we start working the sanding, going all the way from 340 all the way up to 1500 with the dry sanding, and then we'll come back and hit it with the micro mesh pads, and that's what really gives it its pop, is just doing the wet sanding. But overall, really happy how this turned out. A little cool Tabasco. Now we're just going to polish it up with some wood wax, and then you'll be able to see it just nice and clear, and nice little commemorative Tabasco. So like I said, these little things come in MREs. MREs are not the greatest thing to eat, but they're not the worst. If you've ever eaten any other countries, like, packaged meals, these American MREs are not that bad comparatively, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. So here we are, little Tabasco bottle will be forever saved in resin. So the next generation will know, back in my day, we had Tabasco, and it made things a little bit better. But overall, really happy the way this turned out. I'll probably keep this on my desk at work. But there it is, little Tabasco bottle. And you can see at the top, we didn't nick anything. So really cool how this turned out overall. So now we're just going to go ahead and take the handsaw and detach it from the main piece. And then give this a good polish. And then you'll see the finished product at the end. So for everybody out there, hope everybody's doing well. All that good stuff that I always say at the end of these videos. It's actually like 1 o'clock in the morning on Veterans Day when I'm doing this commentary. So wanted to put this out for today since it's Veterans Day. So there it is, Tabasco in resin. So hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.